Is Burning Man a pop-up art festival, a modern-day festival like Woodstock, art installation, art cars? Are most burners going to induce experiences such as classical states of enlightenment? Beware of unearned wisdom. You might not be a matured vessel of the sacred embodiment of the divine fluidity taken in ceremonial spiritual practices. As in the Ark of the Covenant, the divine is revealed, but the body will be overwhelmed and perish.
That's what there is. There's millions of festivals and concerts and events that you can go to year round. Okay. And I had a friend that went to Burning Man at the very beginning when it was actually here at Baker Beach. And she would say, "Oh, Diana, you have to come," because at the time I was doing face painting and body painting. And she was like, "Oh man, that'd be so cool for you to do that and everything." And I was like, "No, that doesn't sound interesting to me." you know. I mean, she said, "Oh, well, it's much more than that," she would say. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right." I'm like, I body painted at the exotic erotic ball. I did makeup. I did costumes for the exotic erotic ball for many years. Okay. And so, believe me, I heard just lots of stories, and I actually did experience, I have gone once where I actually did body paint there. So it was just like, no, to me, that's what Burning Man sounded like. And I was like, no, that's okay. I wasn't interested in it. But Burning Man is one of those things that it's very difficult to explain. I mean, it's another world. It's another society. It's another planet. It really is in so many ways. So anyway, how I eventually got to Burning Man was I moved to Vallejo. That was one thing. Well, I happened to live with longtime burners. What does that mean? That means that these are people that have been to Burning Man from, I would say, 10 to 15 years. Okay, they're people that long time burner. That's what you call them. Okay, so these people have made art. They made art cars. They had camps there. They were huge participants in Burning Man. Those are the people that I met. And I got to know them really well because I lived in Vallejo for almost 10 years. And so I got to know them as people, not as burners, right? Even though a lot of them would work and plan on making their art that they were going to bring to Burning Man for a whole year, because it takes a lot of planning to make Burning Man. And Burning Man is actually an art festival, which people don't even think of it that way.
Jump in. Do you know Jeremy, the mentalist? Because that would be good for you and him to talk, because he's an artist at Burning Man, and he's actually setting up a gallery, and he wants to have people go in there and film content and stuff. But I thought, well, being that I met him at Muschetti, so I thought maybe either you
Oh, okay.
through it.
No,
Or not.
I would say that I know most of the burners that live in
He's actually
Vallejo
on.
around the area.
He's actually on my YouTube. If you look under Twin Flames, and he's talking about it, I'll send it to
Oh,
you,
okay.
and you might
Okay.
be always, at least maybe you might be. I remember him at the
Yeah, I might have seen him or something. Yeah.
because we were doing something there too. He was doing it would have been better, you and him, but there was a lady that was doing tarot cards, and he interviewed her, but then she didn't like the way it came out. But if you two would have got together, that would have been, because it would have been an artist in Burning Man and you, and that would be great. If I told him, he'll be interested.
Yeah, no, we could, yeah, for sure. I mean, you could, yeah. Anyway, so how I ended up getting there was I became involved with this group, one group that had been to Burning Man for, I think, 15 years, since I think they started going in 2005. They have an art car, and it was a steampunk art car, okay, which at the time, that's a whole other story. Like I said, I have a million stories, but they made a Victorian house, a 3-story Victorian house on wheels. Okay, well, needless to say, it's going to go really slow. You know, it went like 5 miles an hour. Okay, and I actually never went to Burning Man with them, even though I worked with them throughout the year doing lots of other Burning Man style activities when they lived in Vallejo. So they actually would make art cars for people, and they have made art cars that went to Burning Man, different art cars. So there was all these artists that I met. There was another artist that made, he made tents, you know, for Burning Man, specifically for Burning Man. He built those. And there's another artist that made flame sculptures. So they had actual, you know, powered by gas flames in the sculptures, these big giant ones. It was Flaming Lotus Girls. Okay, they're actually another famous group that's out of Oakland. Well, one of the people that helps to coordinate that group, she lived in Vallejo as well. So she actually, at one time, I had a vintage clothing store in Vallejo, and her name was Mills, and she came in one day because she had bought some clothes from me. So I would actually have burners come in, and they would buy clothes from my shop, okay? But like I said, I'd never been. So anyway, so she comes in one day, and she says, anybody want to go to Burning Man? Okay. And it was like, what? Nobody says that, you know, because it's an ordeal to get a Burning Man ticket. So anyway, I said, yeah, I do. Well, you know, the tickets at that time were $400. I think it was $400. And yeah, she got a ticket. I bought the ticket from her, and I went. Well, Burning Man was a different experience for me because I knew all these people that had already been to Burning Man. So, for example, there's thousands of different camps there with different themes to them. And when the first time that I went to Burning Man, I think I knew 8 different camps of people. Okay. And there's so much to do and see at Burning Man that I didn't even get to all 8 camps, okay, even though the first time I went, I spent 10 days there. And I was actually in 3 different camps, okay, which is, again, another story. But I think one of the things that stands out for me at Burning Man is, of course, at night, it's so beautiful. There's no lights out there except for what people bring and put on themselves, or they have bicycles with lights on them, and then there's the art cars that have lights on them and flames and things. And it's a very surreal experience. You feel like you're on another planet. You feel like it's every festival or fair or party that you have ever been to in your life all put together. Okay, I mean, that's how I explain it at night. And there's DJs all over the place on the perimeter of the playa. And it's mostly like electronica music that they play. There's a few other types of music, and there's people obviously that stay up all night until the next morning. And it's just an incredible experience. And so one of my other favorite experiences was when I was on, because I knew so many of the art cars, and because I had been involved in events, for example, like Maker's Fair in San Mateo, they would invite a lot of people that had made cars at Burning Man to bring them there. And so, and because I was friends with people that made art cars, and there's a number of other people that's just a whole other category of art, is they had art cars that they brought to art car parades apart from Burning Man. I felt very comfortable being around art cars. So when I got to the playa and there was art cars, my friend and I, we would just go up to the art car and say, can we get a ride on your art car? Because most of the time, the people that are on the art cars, they're kind of like a self-contained unit or a camper. They're people that build and maintain these cars, which is a lot of work. So it's, you know, so we were doing that, and that was just like one of a super fun memory that I have is jumping on and off art cars at night on the playa. That was a fantastic experience. One of the other experiences is the burns themselves. So they obviously every year they make, since the beginning of Burning Man, they made a giant man made out of wood. And so they still have continued that tradition, and they have two burns. So one is they burn the man, which they do it at night, and it's a giant party. It's a giant circle on the playa with art cars and people all around it. And then in the middle of it is the man, and they put it on fire and you watch it burn. And it's just a really incredibly powerful experience. And it's kind of like, you know, if you've ever done a bonfire at a beach or had a campfire or something, it's just this primal, instinctual, spiritual experience. You know, it's just there. It's just kind of what happens, you know, when you're watching fire burn at night. So when you're out there on this playa, which is actually native land, by the way, and they're burning this giant man, you know, it's just this giant party. It feels like a revelation of your soul. And, you know, that might sound really like, you know, oh, you were psychedelic on drugs. No, I wasn't. Okay, I was not. It's just it's just
some marijuana at least.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I mean, I would say the second time I went, I actually did do mushrooms. Okay, but
there we go. You were on something eventually.
But eventually. Okay, but I don't smoke marijuana. No, I don't.
No, I was just doing an eighth of mushrooms and meet God, because you only live once in your life. Might as well meet him before you meet him again.
Yeah. No, the other incredible burn is they have a temple. So they haven't, I'm not sure exactly how long they've been making a temple there, but it's just kind of like a generic temple, you know, like, because temples represent religious, you know, religions.
I like the Harbin Springs too. I remember that's different, but you heard of Harbin Springs too?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
All those kind of like that. And I've never done any drugs when I was there, but it was a great experience at Harbin. And when I was younger, there was something, when I was a little kid, it was called the Rock of Ages, and it was a Christian kind of thing. But it kind of gets. I was younger, like a baby, like I think 5, and then I went when I was like 12, and then when I was 14, I went by myself with my friends.
Right. Yeah, no, it's great to have those kinds of experiences.
Yeah. It was called the Way Biblical Research Center, and it was a cult. Supposedly, it wasn't. And it was in New Knoxville, Ohio, and he owned the place, but people were thinking that it was like they would pull people over and stuff because of the way they were going there. And the weird thing was is just that his dad owned that because they were farmers, and then his dad gave it to the older son, and the other older son gave it to Dr. Victor Paul Werrell, because he was I don't know, but he was like a reverend or something that got kicked out of the Christian faith because he was, learning a lot of different things that were different than that. And so then the brother that inherited it just said, hey, why don't you just take this and we'll make it, part of the research center. And so it was like kind of like that kind of thing with like a Burning Man, but a Christian man. I mean, there were there were people probably doing drugs, and then there were people probably not. But whenever they find out that was happening, they would, because there's people all over, teenagers, whatever, they wouldn't be able to go back to the Rock of Ages. Right.
Yeah, there's things like that around. Yeah, but so anyway, the temple experience, so that's another big burn. So they actually burn the temple. Okay, and this is actually very surreal. They build this beautiful, huge, gigantic temple where hundreds of people go, and what they do is they put like photographs, usually of loved ones, of animals, of people they're praying for that have like cancer, or different illnesses, things like that. And so when you go into the temple, it's covered with photographs and mementos of people. There's, there's stuffed animals, and there's, just things, memories from people, or, things like that, or people that they're praying for that are going through hard times and things. And so there's like chanting, and there's music, and there's, usually like some kind of like candle lights or soft lights, things like that in there. And I have never experienced this profound feeling of sacredness as I have felt when I went into the temple. Okay, and maybe I think it's because when you see all these photographs of people, and people are crying everywhere and hugging each other and things like that. Okay, so like you walk into that, and it's non-religious. Okay, it's just a temple, and it is the most powerful thing. I have never felt such a profound sense of sacredness than I have felt in there. And it was just because I think it was because of the human connection, the strong, it's like being open to processing that person that has passed, that animal, that loved one, all this prayer, it was just amazing. So you go in there and you experience that, okay? And you can go there. So the temple is open 24 hours a day. It's open during the day. It's open at night. And then they burn it. Okay. So here you have people sharing these super intense personal experiences, and they go to the temple, and then they're going to burn it. So you go to the temple burning. It's a complete opposite of the man burning, okay? Because the man burn is like a giant party, and there's dancers and lights and music and all this stuff. Temple's the complete opposite. They don't allow music. If you're out there, you have to be really quiet. So it's the same place. They gather around giant. They have the temple there. There's also people that surround, the temple itself to protect anyone from the fire, because the fire burns all night long. And it burns, obviously it takes a while to put out a giant fire. So anyway, so there's different people that start the fire. And there's something so emotional and so powerful when you see that there's this structure, this beautiful structure, where here you have remembered loved ones in your life, and you've spent time thinking and meditating and crying and all these things, and then you go to it and they're going to burn it, and they start the burn, and it's like you watch every single flame jump from here to there. And like I said, it's one of the most powerful things that I've ever experienced, and it's really hard to explain. But it's like your emotions that you went, and all those pictures that were in there, so they're burnt, everything's burnt. And it's almost like it's burning that past, those emotions, and they're going up into the flames of heaven. And it's like this, it's washing over you, like this cleansing. It's like a cleansing. And it's just a really beautiful, touching experience. I mean, that, and it's like I've actually never heard anybody talk about that. At Burning Man, I've never heard about it in the media or anything. They just talk about, oh yeah, they burn the man, But for me, like I said, it was just incredible experience, and I hold that experience so dear to my heart. And it's like, yeah, Burning Man is a party place, in many ways, but it's an art festival. So there's artists, and they're expressing themselves in many different ways. And artists are out there. Yeah, they are, because that's what artists are. They're expressing themselves through words, through pictures, through, just so many different ways. And that's what Burning Man is about. And yeah, you can be offended by things that people do there or not. But the other thing is that there's just such an innate part of the culture, the society of Burning Man that is about respect and tolerance. As long as, go ahead and express yourself however you want to express yourself. Go ahead and do it. But you know what? Don't harm anybody else, and respect that other person. If they don't want to participate in whatever it is that you're expressing,
welcome to Awaken Within. Our
don't
Patreon link
them.
below has a handful of giveaways from amazing books alongside
and
live streaming, Q&A, authors, mentors, and life coaches. We are continually growing our community. Feel free to share ideas you'd like to see. Subscribe to bookmark us or click on the notification bell.
Okay, that is the Burning Man philosophy. Okay, and people don't realize that. They just think, oh, people are just partying because they want to get naked and do all this stuff, and it's like, okay, there's part of that, but that's not the whole thing. That is not the whole thing. I mean, yeah, if that's what you want to go there for, you can do that to a point, because like I said, there's a built-in respect going. And if you don't do that, okay, there's rangers there, and the rangers are like the volunteer security guards, if you want to call them that, of Burning Man. And they're all burners, okay? And I have some friends that are rangers, and they're trained to help people in all kinds of situations, because it's extreme weather and you have to learn how to take care of yourself very well. And sometimes people don't, okay? And so, like I said, I could tell you so many stories about Burning Man. And, it was weird. I had this dream the other day, and it was about a Burning Man piece of art, of all things that I remembered. And it was this giant bear. Okay, this guy made a sculpture of a bear on the playa the year that I went, and it was like the sculpture was about, I would say, 25 feet tall. I mean, it was really, really huge. Okay. I mean, I think it might have, maybe it wasn't that tall, but it looked like it was the size of a real bear. Like if it was standing up, it was maybe 13 feet tall. Maybe that was a better height, but it was a gigantic bear. Okay. And it was, when you look at it from far away, it was bronze. Okay. The bear, and he was standing up. And so when you walked up to the bear, you realized that it was actually made out of pennies. The fur was pennies. So what he did was, the artist stuck in the pennies sideways, not flat. He stuck them in sideways so it looked like rough fur kind of sticking out. So it was covered in like thousands of pennies. And this, like I said, the sculpture was gigantic. It was, however tall it was. I don't know why I had a dream of that, but I actually talked to the artist because I had stayed after Burning Man that year. And that was actually one of the really coolest things I did was most of the people had left Burning Man. So the only people that were left is the people that are cleaning up Burning Man. Okay. And so my friend and I we wanted to stay. And what I did for the next few days was go around talking to the artists. So they were taking down their art on the playa. And so that's when I met the artist that had made that giant bear sculpture. And I mean, when you think about that thing weighed like a ton. I mean, it literally weighed like a ton, this bear. So people have these giant trailers and trucks and cranes and all kinds of stuff to take their art down and to put it up. So, I mean, you don't realize the commitment that people have to making their art, bringing their art, setting it up, tearing it down at Burning Man. I mean, all these things. I mean, it's there's so much community effort and volunteer effort, and I have to say that's one of the other things that I respect so much about Burning Man is that the people that bring the art there, they create a community there at Burning Man and also in their hometowns where they live, because they all work together to bring that art to life, and they bring it to Burning Man to share it to people. And now the art of Burning Man is going to different parts of the world. So there's like, they end up being sculptures in squares and parks, in front of buildings and things like that. So, for example, the Flaming Lotus Girls, they made a giant sculpture with little arms and lights coming out at the end, and that sculpture ended up in front of the museum in Vallejo, and it's still there. So you know, that's just like the coolest thing too, is that you get, now people have, well, you know, Burning Man's been around for such a long time, so there's been a lot of art made, a lot of public art. And so that public art is being displayed in different cities and towns all over the entire world. There's actually, you can also see Burning Man art cars and art in, I believe, Reno, Las Vegas, they have, because that's closer to Burning Man, so there's going to be more art over there. But anyway, so I think I'm talked about Burning Man for a while. I can keep going.
Everyone, welcome to Awaken Within. Our Patreon link below has a handful of giveaways from amazing books alongside live streaming, Q&A, authors, mentors, and life coaches. We are continually growing our community. Feel free to share ideas you'd like to see. Subscribe to bookmark us or click on the notification bell.